your students. They take root and eventually grow into strong learners. While that certainly could apply to you, Mrs. Zito, you do everything a little differently. And that's what makes you so special. You gave our first graders 3 magic beans instead. It will be so much fun to watch them climb that magical beanstalk. And it all started with 3 magic beans.
Don't think you have to buy apples for that time.
I'm going to have to make an apple pie for everybody. I know. Thank you. Do I get a hug?
Oh, Dad, stop pushing.
Hey.
To read chapter books. I didn't know if I could do it, but she believed in me. I love reading even more after spending time in her classroom. Ramona and Jeannie B. Jones will always be very special to me. Oh, and don't forget about the music. I'm going to be a famous singer one day. Thank you, Mrs. Zito. We love you. I wish I was with you my whole life. I wish I could be with you. Before I became one of your students, I loved you because my mom used to bring me to your class, and I saw how much fun the kids were having. You would always give me a gummy. So when I found out that you were my first grade teacher, I couldn't wait. At the beginning of first grade, I was scared on Mondays because it was the first day of a long week of school. You would always hug me and make me feel happy for the rest of the week. I thank you for all the special things that you did for me. I love you, Mrs. Zito, and I will miss you so much. Mrs. Zito, I love the way you care for everyone, your students and family, and every living thing. I'm going to miss you so much. I know you might forget me, but I'll never forget you. I love you. Mrs. Zito has been a great teacher. I really liked how you would help me and other kids learn advanced learning lab, Mrs. Zito, you made learning fun.
Tired of making learning fun, but Miss Zito never got tired of making learning fun. I remember when everyone got an A on a spelling test, Mrs. Zito would dance on our desks. That was awesome. Since I have dyslexia, I struggle with reading, but Mrs. Zito made it easier for me to read. She always encouraged me to try harder at school, and this made me a better student. Now that my brothers and I are older, we always wish we were back in Mrs. Zito's class because she was fun and a cool teacher. I will miss walking by her room and saying hi. Dear Mrs. Zito, when I got to first grade, I was nervous and scared. I didn't know what to expect. You never yelled and always made me feel special. You always knew just what to do to make me feel comfortable in your classroom. You knew what I needed to become a confident reader. Now I am an awesome reader. Thank you for always saying hi to me in the hall, for your yummy gummy worms, but most of all, making me and all your students feel special. Mrs. Zito was the best teacher I had. She gave us gummy worms that were awesome. She helped me learn a lot. Our whole class tried to sing songs with her, and the best moment of all, at the end of our talent show performance, she came up on stage with me and my friends. She totally surprised us. I'm gonna miss you tons. I loved how Mrs. Zito would make me smile and brighten the room when she walks in. She was the one who got me determined to read lots and lots of books. Well, I didn't decide what to say about her, so I just said I loved everything. Miss Zito, thank you so much for being such a great first grade teacher. One of the best memories I always have is making the copy and the big project at the end of the year. I love seeing you every Tuesday and coming to visit with you. Both my sisters and me had you too. Kate even won a raffle and got to go to the exam with you. My best memory with Mrs. Zito is when she sang Happy Birthday to me when she plays the piano. After that, she stood behind me and squeezed my earlobe 7 times because that's how old it was. And then one for good luck, one to grow on, and then she pinched my cheeks for a pinch to grow an inch. Thank you, Mrs. Zito, for making first grade and learning so fun.
Thank you for everything you did. I will never forget the gummy worms and songs. I remember Hansel and Gretel Eat Right. I was one of the elves, and that was awesome. You earned retirement. Have fun.
Mrs. Zito would always encourage me to get excited about reading by choosing a funny series to read about. Mrs. Zito got me hooked on reading. I'll miss you very much, Mrs. Zito. Mrs. Zito always danced on the table when everybody got 100% on their tests. And I love when she danced on my test. I like when Mrs. Zito called on me in class. It made me feel special. The gummy worms were the best. My favorite part of first grade with Mrs. Zito was when she would read to us. She has inspired me to want to write stories. Hearing her read books made us feel the way the character was feeling, even if that character wasn't a picture book. It made me want to start writing and make other people feel the way the characters feel. This year, I started a writer's club in 5th grade. Thank you, Mrs. Zito.
Dear Mrs. Zito, thank you for always encouraging me in first grade. When I wasn't sure how to do something or doubted my work, you believed in me. This encouragement has stuck with me through every school year and has helped me. Every morning in first grade, I was so excited to come to school. I would jump out of bed and get ready for a fun day of learning. Thank you for teaching me that learning is fun and should be fun. I will always miss your hugs in the hallway and words of encouragement.
There are so much I want to say to you, Mrs. Zito. First, I love your hugs. They always cheer me up. I also loved how you made learning so fun. You were caring to everyone like they were your own children and made us feel loved. Gummy worms were always amazing. I really liked how you read the books to us like the characters would have talked. I really appreciated when I didn't get starting part in the play, and you cheered me up and me excited about the carpenter. You made me love music and singing. I struggled with reading because I had a learning disability, but you helped me fight through it, and I love to read today. Thank you for always spending extra time with me and making me a better student. I will miss you forever, and I hope you can come back and sub for me in 6th grade.
I liked how Mrs. Zito gave us baggy books and pushed us as readers to try harder books than what we were used to.
Mrs. Zito was the best teacher ever. Her class was always fun. It was never, okay class, today we will be learning something that has to do with school. We were always having fun, laughing, playing a math game, or working on our play. Bye, Mrs. Zito. We'll miss you. There were a lot of things about Mrs. Zito, but my favorite was about the cleaning routes. She always gave me a lot of things in my desk, and it was very good. And there's a lot more things, but my favorite thing was the cleaning routes about Mrs. Zito. Mrs. Zito is my first grade Mary Poppins. I remember when I made a book that was soft and barely held together. She put it on the shelf to make me feel proud and good about myself. In that moment, Mrs. Zito especially encouraged me to not only write more, but to become better as a writer. I was especially missed when I walked down the hallway, and she would say hi and still know my name, even though it had been 4 years since I had been in first grade. I miss you, Mrs. Zito.
I was very nervous my first day of first grade. Marymount was a new school for me, but all the anxiety quickly went away. Mrs. Zito made me feel so welcome. I love walking through the door and seeing the Z plus a picture of Zito. She just had to pronounce her name. She made phonics fun. To this day, Mrs. Zito has been one of my favorite teachers.
Even though you used to and still do call me Ian, you were one of my favorite teachers because you were the most enthusiastic in all the teachers I've ever had. I love coming to school because you made every day an adventure. Thank you.
Mrs. Zito has changed my life. Before I got to Mrs. Zito's class, school was just a place I had to go because it was expected. Mrs. Zito grew my interest in every subject she taught. I learned to love to learn from Mrs. Zito. Mrs. Zito always made learning fun. It was always a game, not a lecture hall. She always incorporated games or songs with learning. She set my goals higher than before and pushed me to become a better student at a very young age. Mrs. Zito, you are the reason I am the student I am today, and for that I thank you. You had all 3 of my brothers and sisters, and we are all going to deeply miss you.
One memory I had from Mrs. Zito's class was when we babysat Mrs. Melvin's turtles, Max and Ruby, and their tank cracked. We all worked together to clean up the water. Mrs. Zito was special to me because of her fun-loving spirit and commitment to our class. Thank you for making my first grade experience very special.
On the first day of first grade, I was kind of scared because I didn't really know how to pronounce Mrs. Zito's name. But then when I saw the picture of the Z and the toe, I knew that was Mrs. Zito. Thank you for all you've done.
Something that Mrs. Zito did I always liked was when the class didn't get a writing quizzes, she would stand on top of the desk and said, "I'm the smartest class in the world." This helped me aim, go better for learning and not do the average or minimum.
Whenever I think of Mrs. Zito, just about every time, I always think of how loving, patient, and creative she is. With a guaranteed hug every time I saw her in the hallway, and a gummy worm after school, it's downright impossible to forget her. She would say the funniest things and have the cutest projects always hanging in the hallway. Certified teacher and amateur dentist Mrs. Zito is impossible to forget.
Hi, Mrs. Zito. I'll never forget the last day of first grade when at recess I found this arrowhead, and even though it wasn't my day to share, Mrs. Zito bent the rules a little bit for me and let me share. So thank you for teaching me that it's good to be flexible. Thanks for a great first grade experience.
Hey, Mrs. Zito. You were the best teacher I ever had. You were always picked on me and made me feel good about myself. When you picked me to be the cleaning mouse, I was so honored. You always, whenever I came up to take Ethan, you'd always give me gummy worms. Sometimes you'd call me Noah and have to give me gummy worms. You always picked me to take out the recycling, and I felt so proud. Class was never boring with you. Thank you, Mrs. Zito.
Even though I was only 6 at the time I knew Mrs. Zito, I remember a lot about first grade and what a great time I had in that class. Throughout my years in the elementary, I wanted to get one of those tooth containers that, like when you lose your tooth, you get it put in the little container, and I wanted it really badly, and I hadn't gotten one when I was actually in first grade. So whenever I had a wiggly tooth and I thought it was about to fall out, the teachers would tell me to go to the nurse to get gauze, but I would always just wait until school was over and go to Mrs. Zito's for her to pull it out. When leaving the elementary, I remember wanting to especially see Mrs. Zito as I left because I knew I wouldn't be able to go to her room anymore to visit and get some of her gummy worms. You know, just catch up every once in a while. Abby, Sydney, and I, along with some other friends from that class, went to her room to give her a big goodbye, and I remember crying as we walked out of school because we were sad to leave our teachers, especially Mrs. Zito. She had left a lasting impression on me that I will never forget, and she'll always be in my memories.
My fondest memory of Mrs. Zito was when I wasn't even in her class. I had never really been that great at math, and so getting into accelerated math was without a doubt one of the best things best accomplishments in my life. To say the least, I was ecstatic. So of course I had to tell Mrs. Zito, my favorite teacher to this day. Being the wonderful woman she is, she hugged me and told me that she knew I could do it, and then proceeded to giving me a gummy worm that she now stored in her closet because the school abandoned her keeping them on the piano. To sum it up, I will never forget the woman that never stopped loving her students even after they had left her classroom. And then Cindy Nicholson was supposed to be here, but she's sick right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and read hers too. My favorite memory of Mrs. Zito was when we had the spelling quizzes against our own classmates, and whoever ended up spelling the word right would get gummy worms from the container she kept above the piano for the longest time. Aside from this memory, I would also like to say that Mrs. Zito shaped me to who I am today. She showed me that even today, it's okay to be different from everyone else, and to always start the day with a positive attitude that could in return be reflected upon my peers. Thank you for everything, Mrs. Zito.
Hi, Mrs. Zito. One comical memory that I remember from my first grade experience with you was the constant correction of the word because. And because of you, today I know how to spell the word because.
Apparently I was a bit of a handful back in the day, but Mrs. Zito not only knew how to deal with me, but she helped teach me, or helped motivate me, and help me be productive. Not only did she believe me, but she helped me learn how to believe myself and be confident in myself.
Thinking back about my Miss Zito experience 10 years ago, I recall the customary gummy worm handouts ensuing every school day in our first grade play, Anansi and the Moss-Covered Rock. I have now taken part in 3 high school productions since then. Most memorably, I recollect how Miss Zito treated me after breaking my right elbow. I was right-handed, so I had to transition to writing with my right hand to my left hand, a transition that crippled my ability to write legibly. However, instead of berating me for my poor handwriting, Miss Zito praised me for my work and gave me a sticker. She taught me to accept and be happy with my personal best and to set my goals realistically. I didn't need to be an Olympic athlete, a musical prodigy, or New York Times best-selling author. I am who I am, and Miss Zito made me feel successful for just being me. For these reasons and more, I will forever remember my first grade experience with a smile. Thank you, Miss Zito.
I learned many things from Mrs. Zito, not just spelling, math, and grammar, but about success. I learned how to really succeed in my time at Marymount. Mrs. Zito honestly set the stage for my Marymount career, through elementary school, through high school, and now through high school, junior high, that makes sense. Life speeds up as you get older. One day you look back and realize everything you've done, and you're thankful to the people who got you where you are today. I could not be more thankful to have had Mrs. Zito in first grade. Not only for the inspiration she gave me, but also for forever being able to spell friends, because you want to fry their ends.
Mrs. Zito not only gave me my first grade education, but also some of my favorite childhood memories. She taught us with fun and unique methods. Because of her, I will never forget that I comes before E in the word friend, because sometimes you want to fry their end. She allowed us to explore all of our talents with creative opportunities such as authoring stories for extra credit, aka worms, or performing in our class musical, The Anansi and the Moss-Covered Rock. I still remember her beginning each morning behind the piano, teaching us new songs. Inch by inch, row by row, Mrs. Zito helped me grow as a person and will always hold a special place in my heart.
Mrs. Zito, thank you for inspiring within me the love of learning. I will never forget the sour gummy worms, the songs we sang, and my leading role as a shepherd. Enjoy retirement. You deserve it. You deserve it after so much you've done for so many people.
I will never forget my first grade teacher. From the gummy bears to the piano, and even the sign in her room with the Z and a toe. Mrs. Zito will be greatly missed throughout the Marymount district. She has changed and impacted so many lives, including my own. I will remember you forever. Have a great retirement. You deserve it.
I've always remembered loving Mrs. Zito's class. We would have work packets, and if you finished yours early, you got bonus work. And everyone wanted bonus work. This is super embarrassing. My best friend Andy, who's right here, would always finish her work before me, and I always wanted to do what Andy did. So I would turn in my work, even if it wasn't finished, so we could work on our bonus work together. And you would, every time, help me out, help me finish my work so I could work with Andy, and I am so grateful to have had you as a teacher, and I hope you enjoy retirement.